The Queen tradition, once it involves royal rule, won't work on younger members of the monarchy, a royal skilled has claimed. The Queen, 95, celebrates her PT year next year, and for 70 years as monarch, she's still following tradition. However, Grant Harold, who has served as pantryman to the Queen, aristocrat of Wales and Duke of Cambridge, believes additional changes lie ahead. He noted that traditionally with the royal family, it's the rule for everyone, wherever the royal appearance but doesn't touch. Mr. Harold has since ascertained younger members of the royal family, together with aristocrat Harry and Meghan Markle, who stepped back from royal duties in early 2020, not absolutely following the rules. A bit like the Queen. He identifies showing warm-heartedness and interacting with the general public as two examples. He added, "Historically, there are several royal marriages that have clearly not gone well, thus it's assuring to envision younger royals, and their partners clearly fall soft on, and that they are extremely in love, and are best friends. I suppose that conjointly necessary as a result of we all know it operating and they can unite as they lead us." The Royal Rules Guild reviewed the traditions maintained by the Queen, together with borderline displays of warm-heartedness created to her late husband Prince Philip, who passed on to the great beyond in April at the age of 99. Mr. Harold said, "The Queen and aristocrat Philip don't extremely show affection, however there are over the years you see him offer her a kiss on the cheek, or typically you see them sitting really close, every other, particularly in recent years. Those are things that royals have not done before. I don't suppose I've ever seen the Queen at an occurrence, wherever she control a child, it's not what was done. With trendy royals, they're like that they need to be, whereas the Queen ignores that as a result of she the Queen and she or he continuously has been." He added, "I think if they're referring to the young royals return, and become like what beautified the Queen, it won't work for them because they're today in a very totally different world than it had been then. If they are then seen as freelance, or not returning out, I believe it will amend people's opinion of them. Loads of individuals would love to envision the house simply doing things traditionally. However, a lot of people, together with me, need to understand they're a contemporary family and that they do everything in a very modern way." Mr. Harold spoke in a recent incident once the Duke and Peeress of Geographic Area took to the stage in Nye to talk on international subject live, holding hands, noting that it had been behavior atypical for the royal family. He said, "This isn't one thing you won't see with the Queen and Philip. The Queen is often well known to be a number of steps ahead, and with William and Kate same factory I'll realize William's simply a few steps ahead. However, he will show how the long-run king and his wife, the Peeress of Cambridge, have adjusted their behavior in recent times, and appear to point out additional warm-heartedness in alternative places, public. I don't understand if I've seen them hold hands, whereas about to the event, however I've seen them meet up with to every other. You see them sit down, then you see one among them perhaps holding hands or sharing a joke and people factors, feels like a silly thing to purpose out, however they didn't happen in his day. Their grandmothers they don't do those things, and if they did it not extremely documented." In keeping with Mr. Harold comments, the Combine was seen holding hands at the extremely anticipated Character No Time to Die premiere in recent days, an instance seen by some as breaking ancient royal rights. The previous royal pantryman noted, however, the Duke and Peeress are typically seen interacting with royal fans in ways that we have a tendency to haven't seen from the Queen, what he known as the huge thing. Close quote. Once it involves defying standards. So is that the public, if you meet a royal you'd near dream of shaking hands, he said. Now, However often does one hear William, Kate, Harry, Meghan and somebody come back and say, "Can I provide you with a hug?" And frequently you simply see them hug back, counting on the case and their location. However, particularly if it's children, that a pretty huge thing, if you think that regarding it. He added, "It are going to be fascinating to envision once the Queen is especially gone, how well they adhere to those rules, and whether or not they can create it to a contemporary house with several purses, additional samples of public displays of warm-heartedness, and the way they act with people. I've even seen Charles hit a high five with a kid, and that I near thought I'd see that." Once asked if public displays of affection and a brand new modernist approach from royals were the norm, he said their amendment within their actions ought to be encouraged and honored. However, remember that these actions could divide royal fans. Situations like these are terribly divisive and show that folks prefer to see the fashionable approach to monarchy, but there are folks that don't. He's saying for them, they appear at however the Queen has done things throughout her reign, and that they suppose she didn't do something wrong, she didn't have it off in order that they shouldn't. A girl born in the 1920s, and Queen in the 1950s, it had been a very totally different time with different rules and regulations. It was a distinct world, the times of her grandparents and great-grandparents, and everybody revered and loved her thus much, and nobody questioned it. As a result of we have a tendency to simply thought it had been Queen way of doing things, that what she will, and it a part of the tremendous aura around her, that audiences tend to love. She will depart with it, however younger royals can't, because they're trendy and young, and have the expectations that escort that.